Hey guys, Paul here. So, as you may have seen yesterday, I went out and made some bone gorge fish hooks. And today I'm out by the sea again, and I am just setting up a static line. And the idea there is, I have a line that goes from this point here, a stake in the ground, to this point here. And then off that line, I have little leader lines coming off up to these bone gorge hooks here, which I made yesterday. And the idea here is you bait this up in such a way that the bait holds the hook like this, so it's straight. The fish comes in, bites that, and as it goes to pull the bait off, it swallows the bait. The hook turns and gets stuck in the fish like that. These ends here are very sharp, so that it should stick into the fish and it shouldn't be able to escape. At least that's the theory anyway. So everything I've used here is actually foraged materials, apart from this line here actually. This is one of the inner strands of a piece of paracord, and does a perfect job for like fishing line. This one here is actually an electric fence that I scavenged, and really strong line because it's got metal running through it obviously, and makes a great line for taking these off. And of course I'll be removing all this when I'm done and leaving no trace. A little trick I thought I would show you if you're ever trying these yourself when it comes to storing them, because when you've got all these lines hanging out, it can be a bit of a pest, is to store it like this. So as you can see, I've wrapped the line up here and poked it through this line, the electric cable. And all I have to do then is pop that out. Try and do it with one hand, and then that makes you able to unravel it. So it's a very quick setup. Once you've made one of these, you should be able to kind of set it up fairly quickly. And these are great for when you're camping by the coast and you know you're going to be there for some time, because while you can go out and forage in the rocks here, so this is currently low tide, you can go out and forage in the rocks here. You actually can set these up at the same time, and then when the tide's in, you're still effectively fishing without having to even think about it. A few little pointers would be to make sure that your stakes are in the ground nice and hard. I've got mine propped up with rocks. Not only does that help support the stake, it actually acts as a marker so that when I come down here, low tide tonight is about 3 o'clock in the morning, so when I come down here I'll be able to identify these fairly easily and check to see if there's anything on it. And speaking of tide coming in, one thing it's important to make sure of is that you've checked the tide times, because I've seen people set these up in the past and they haven't checked the tides, and it happens to be a higher tide tomorrow. So if I wasn't a wee bit up the beach when I came back to check it, it would actually still be underwater. So just making sure that you're always going to be higher than the next tide so that you can retrieve your kit. And that's about it, guys. So I'm going to bait this up just now. I have some worms I took from the garden, some nice big worms. I'm going to try those. But what I'm hoping to get here is flatfish, and they tend to go for sort of shellfish, so your limpets and mussels and crabs and whatever else. And the reason I've set up here in particular is because I am next to this big outcrop of rocks, and just there already you can see shellfish scattered around. There'll be crabs in here, and that also creates a bit of a flow. You can see water running down here, and the flatfish I'm going for like that kind of environment. Of course, it goes without saying, when you're trying to hunt or fish, you have to think like the animal. So my idea here was, this seems like perfect kind of habitat for them. I've set up just a wee bit out from the rocks so that my hooks don't get tangled up or lost in there. And crabs in there will also go for your bait as well, so you kind of want to stay away from them. So that's it guys, I'll give you one last look at it. So no fancy knots or anything. I can barely tie my own shoelaces, so the knots aren't anything fancy, just slip knots or overhand knots will do. And these bits of bone were foraged from a seal that I found yesterday and then shaped on just rocks. Of course this can all be done with natural cordage, and if I had the time and the materials, that's certainly what I would have done. However, I just didn't have the time for that, so using foraged materials works equally as well. So that's it guys, wish me luck. I'm going to set the bait and head home for a brew. Hope you're all keeping well, and I'll share the results with you tomorrow. One final clip for those interested. This is how it is baited up. So as you can see, the hook's gone straight now. The fish will come in, pull it off. Because the hook's tied in the middle, it will flip round and you should get stuck. So that's one of the worms. Here we have another worm. Again, straight hook. This here is one of the limpets. This isn't very pretty, this is just a literal barb through the limpet. That one, I might redo that one actually because it's not very good. And this one here, it's a limpet as well, and as you can see the gorge hook is in there, and the idea being the fish will come in and swallow this whole, or at least take a big bit of it anyway, and then the hook will twist inside the stomach. So for those interested. Anyway, now I'm off for a brew, so catch you all later.